On this daily time frame, we're still bearish because all we're doing right now, it looks like, is price creating a lower high point, because we have this low point right here, and where this came from is this high point at the 45.75. So at the 45.75s on the daily time frame, unless we're trading above that, that's where that daily time frame shifts to a more bullish market structure. Right now, price is just recovering from these lows and doing a pullback against this overall bearish structure right here. On the 4-hour, this is where it gets a little bit more tricky, because now when we look at where this last low was created and we see that it came from this high, we broke above that high yesterday. So on the 4-hour, we've shifted out of that bearish structure that we were on, just because of the fact that, again, we have let's follow it from these highs. And let's say this is our first lower low here. Then we have a lower high, another lower low, lower high, lower low, and then we have a break of this lower high. So again, that shifted that market structure. This is also that area that I was talking to you guys about, where we can potentially pull back into, and if we can get more rejections and buyers exhausting at those 44.60s, which was this area of interest, that's where that 4-hour was going to continue being more bearish. So if you can get rejections and exhaustion on the buyer side, then the sells made sense. But again, we did not get that. We just got a clean, straight push above all our areas of interest. Absolutely nothing to stop those buyers yesterday. And now on the 1-hour, you can also see how that market structure shifted really as we got above those 44.60s. Because again, the 44.60s is where this last low got created and where it came from. So that was that main area that we needed to pay attention to, that we needed to stay below to really continue on those intraday timeframes on the more bearish sides, right? So now we're looking at gold. Let's just adjust a few of the zones, because again, looking at just the zones that we have marked off, they look pretty good. We have on the 1-hour, even this zone, this 40, back to those 4500s right here at this area of interest. You can see, let me just delete this and remake it. I'm gonna mark off those 4500s and just around like the 44.95s, kind of just like something like this. This is where you get like your overall market reactions, where you have, this was that last low that got created before pushing towards the upside, lining up with that 4500 psychological level there. It's like a psychological price point, 4500s. We have the clear reactions at the 4500s towards the left as well. So we know that that's a very clear area of interest, okay? If we near the 4500s once again, then we'll obviously be on the lookout for price to maybe it can do a little bit of deeper pullbacks into like the 44.90s. And still this 1-hour would be bullish, right? Because we're marking off the 4500s as our main like area of interest, because we know that that's like that price range where price has continued to trade by. But based off market structure and this current price action, we know that price can go into the 44.90s, still respect these lows, and then overall continue bullish above those areas of interest there. All right. So we have the daily bearish, but the 4-hour and the 1-hour is more bullish, right? Now, because that daily is still bearish, and because in my opinion, fundamentals overall, to be honest, really have not shifted much, because this right here, now that we can get into the review, all right? Actually, before we get into the review, let's mark off this one more low. We have a low, which was a previous high, which is where price is approaching. Where if we cannot break below this area, then at this point, just continue to adapt to that bullish market structure. You have higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs. If you create a higher low here and fail to break below this 45.12s area, I wouldn't even be on the lookout for any sort of deeper pullbacks. I would just look for rejection plays and continue to ride that bullish momentum here on gold. Once we start to get candle closures below this area, that's where you can be on the lookout for deeper pullbacks into the 4500s. But again, right now with the current momentum, if price is to stop at this zone and fail to really break below, that would be our buy zone. Although I would say 4500 is a much better buy zone, but just by following price action, let's just follow it through here. Like the highs, we have lows, higher highs, higher low. momentum wise, ideally we don't get below this area, because then you would be starting to kill that momentum that the buyers have. And so you would want to just continue on this path to go and retest those highs and then possibly go even higher into these previous highs over here. That's if the bullish market structure is going to hold, and if the market continues to go more bullish. Juan, good morning, my friend. Good to see you once again. I saw you killed it on US 30 once more. Got ourselves a US 30 assassin over here, man. Taking US 30's money. All right, so those would be like the main buy zones that we have for gold. The 45 12s, if we can exhaust and reject. Let's see what that looks like on the lower time frames. Yeah, ideally, look at how, for example, price action here in the past, we dug a little bit below the 45 12s, actually just around the 45 12s. But you can see how buyers stepped in each time. Like this was like price getting here, like there's a quadruple bottom right here. So again, showing you that buyers are still very much present at this area of interest. So we could expect the same thing, as long as we're not really trading below or closing below, like no 15-minute candle closing below, no 1-hour candles, 30-minute candles closing below, and continuing to reject this area. So we could expect another push back towards the upside, right? That's why I say, like, momentum wise, we wouldn't look out for a pullback unless you're really trading and closing below the 45 12s. Like, you really have to be breaking those lows. At that point, it would be better to just wait for a deeper pullback to then look out for buys at the 4500s following the overall structure, right? So those would be our ideas for gold. But all right, guys, gold, we've reached those highs. We've made the entire move. Great analysis for the day. Simple today. It was simple market analysis following market structure, following the recent shift in those fundamentals, which we read earlier, right? We understood why the market was driving towards the upside. We understood our areas where we needed to respect. We had great plays. Some of you guys in the chat were able to take advantage of that. So props to you guys. Now what I say to you is stay patient, stay composed. It is the end of the month. Cut your trading, man. If you made money today, you made money this week, why are you gonna go look to risk that, you know? Be happy with your results. Let's end the month on a good note without having to say, you know what, I had my profits for the day. Tarzan ended his stream and I kept trading and I lost my profits for the week, or I lost my profits for the month, even that. Let's stay composed. We have plenty of opportunities that will come. Today's opportunities were great. Again, following that overall market structure, beautiful break, retest, another retest of this area, the continuation, right? Back right into these highs, over 200 pips worth of movement. Perfect. Beautiful, beautiful.